Hi Melanie, it's Kelly. I watched your video, the one where you're giving the update, and I had actually did a video the day before yesterday where I was asking for an update, so you just must have read my mind. But I almost cried when I watched your video because my heart went out to you, and I know how scared that must have made you feel when the doctor told you that you might have had a heart attack, or that you did have a heart attack or you're getting ready to. And all I can tell you is this isn't a God-ordained moment. You know, God has intervened into your life to give you a wake-up call. And the only reason that I say this is because 7 months ago, he did the same thing to me. You know, I got really sick, and I ended up having to go to the hospital, and I was really, really sick. We thought I was going to die. And that's when I found out I had lymphedema in my right leg, and I had infection from my toes all the way up to my abdomen, and it was really bad, and nothing was working, and I was running a high 105 temperature, and they couldn't get rid of it, and it was horrible. I thought I was going to die, but I didn't, and I got better, and I got a doctor that came in to see me, and he took really good care of me, and he's the first one that mentioned to me about having the weight loss surgery. And you know, and he told me, he said, Kelly, he said, don't you worry, we're going to take care of you. And he said, we're going to get you better, we're going to get you healthier. And believe it or not, you know, I am in a healthier shape. I've got a long way to go before I'm going to be healthy, but I am in a healthier shape because of this tool that I was able to have to help me lose weight. So, you know, don't let it discourage you, because the truth is God's watching over you. He's going to take care of you. He gave you a wake-up call to say, hey, Melanie, you need to do something. You know, you had already made that decision to do this, but now you see one good reason why you need to do it. Things are falling into place because you've made this decision to do that. So, I mean, that's really good for you. And I'm really happy, and this doctor that you're seeing now, she sounds wonderful. I wanted to tell you that it's a good thing also that you've had the test that you've had, the test that she's scheduling, because the stress test that you're going to have, you're going to need that for surgery. So, you know, that's a good thing. You want to go ahead now and start compiling all of your medical records that you're going to have for surgery. You've got 6 months, you know for sure, because you have to have this 6-month diet plan before you can actually have the surgery. So this is a good time. Use this time to go ahead and get everything ready so that the day that your 6 months is up, you can go see that doctor and you can have everything in line so that you're ready to have this surgery. Now, the ways to do that is when you go to your doctor, you want to make sure that you get your medical records. You got to have between, I think it's 9 to 18 months worth of your medical records. So you need to get that stuff together. And every time you go to the doctor, ask for a copy of your record. Ask for a copy of that day so that you can just put this in a pile and you can put it aside for when you go to have your weight loss surgery. Probably when you go to your seminar, they're going to tell you that they need these medical records for you. So they may not even let you turn in your application for weight loss surgery until you actually have your medical records in hand. That's the way it was with me. You know, maybe a lot different there, but here that's the way they did it. You're going to have a stress test anyway. So it's a good thing that you have to have it, because you're going to need that for surgery. Now, when your clearance, or when everything comes back on that, and you go back to see your primary care physician, you want to ask her to schedule you an appointment with a cardiologist, because one of the requirements for the weight loss surgery is that you're going to have cardiac clearance. And one of those tests that you're going to have is the stress test. So you'll want to be able to take that stress test and the EEG, which you've already had. You want to take those with you to your doctor, the cardiologist, so that he can look over that information and you won't have to go through it again. And he can make a game plan. He or she can make a game plan for what you need to do. I don't believe it's going to prevent you from surgery, because there's been a lot of people who have had a lot of things done that had a lot of conditions that have went through it. So I don't think you really have to worry about that. But this cardiologist is going to have to write a letter of clearance for you to your weight loss doctor so that you can have it. Another thing, when you go to your primary care physician, you're going to have pulmonary clearance. So you're going to need to see a pulmonary doctor who will give you that clearance. Also, your family doctor, the doctor that you're seeing now, she's going to have to write a letter of clearance stating that you have been tobacco, drugs, and alcohol free for 6 months to a year prior to surgery, because these are things that you cannot do after you've had the surgery. So you need to make sure that you have a clearance of that. And she would just state that as a diagnosis of morbid obesity, and she's also clearing you for surgery as well. So that's another reason why you have to have that letter. You're going to have to probably have a non-invasive bilateral lower extremity Doppler study. Boy, that's a long word or sentence. This is for a diagnosis of deep vein thrombosis, and what that is deep blood clots inside your legs that you can't see on the surface, because they need to know whether you have that so that they can make sure to watch for those things when you have the surgery. So, you know, that's really important. The other thing that you have to have, if you've got TRICARE, Anthem, or Aetna, is an H. pylori antibody blood test. And that's H and then PYLORI blood test. I'm not exactly for sure what that is. I think it has to do with indigestion and stuff. So you'll have to have that done too, probably. And another thing I want to mention, I can relate with you on the nose thing, because if you look at my nose, I have a little nose too. Though I think that my nose hairs are a little bit bigger than yours, but I have a lot of problem with that. And I have sleep apnea. Now, I didn't know I had sleep apnea until after I was in the hospital. You know, and they said, man, you need to be on a machine. You stop breathing. And they would come in and they would just wake me up while I was in the hospital and say, breathe! You know, it would drive me crazy. But they did it because I couldn't breathe. So, having sleep apnea causes a significant amount of stress on your body. And I wouldn't be surprised that a person could have a heart attack from having sleep apnea, because during the night you stop breathing. And sometimes you stop breathing, you know, for a minute or two. You know, I don't know if it'd be a minute or two, but I think it is up to that long, because I know mine was pretty bad. These are things that you need to take in consideration as you go along, that maybe that's one reason that you're having the heart condition. I would suggest to you that you have your doctor set you up to have a sleep apnea test. It's something that you're going to have to do anyway before you have surgery. You need that, you can stop breathing, and you can die from it. So you want to make sure that you can schedule that appointment and go see a doctor and get this tested. I think that's all that I can think of right now. Gosh, if I can think of anything, or if you have any questions I can help you with, please email me. Or you're going to even send me another video and say, hey, I need help. Anyway, I think that's it. So I'm going to shut up. And I'm glad to hear your update. And I'm glad you're doing okay. And I'll keep you in my prayers. You take care. Bye.